My best friend replaced me as MOH'd because I'm too fat and pregnant. Now I'm refusing to attend her wedding and want my money back. I'm Anna, 27 and currently 4 months pregnant. My best friend, who I'll call Lisa, is 28, and we've been inseparable since high school. Growing up, we were more like sisters than friends. We've been through everything together. First heartbreaks, school drama, family issues, you name it. So when she got engaged, I was thrilled for her and couldn't wait to support her in every way. When Lisa asked me to be her maid of honor, I was beyond honored. I was over the moon, honestly. I'd dreamed of this day for her, and I couldn't wait to help make her wedding special. I knew she had big plans, so I dove in, ready to give her the most amazing experience. I organized the bridal shower, which was a beautiful event with everything from custom decorations to her favorite snacks. I also planned a whole weekend getaway for the bachelorette party, covering accommodations, decorations, and a few surprises along the way to make it unforgettable. I spent hours making sure everything was perfect because I wanted to give her the best. Lisa didn't hold back with her expectations either. She was clear about wanting everything to look elegant and coordinated, so I spent quite a bit on extra decorations, matching outfits, and even small gifts for everyone in the bridal party. All told, I invested thousands of dollars, money that my husband and I had saved, but I was happy to spend it for Lisa. After all, this was her big day, and I wanted her to feel cherished and celebrated. Throughout it all, I was juggling my pregnancy symptoms, feeling exhausted, and managing work, but I didn't let it slow me down. Lisa meant so much to me, and I thought she saw me as family too. Being there for her on her wedding day as her maid of honor was something I thought would bond us even closer. It felt like such a special role, and I never imagined that it could all change so suddenly. A few months ago, I found out I was pregnant. I was overjoyed. It was an exciting time for my husband and me, and I couldn't wait to share the news with my closest friends. Of course, Lisa was one of the first people I told. I wanted her to be part of this big new chapter in my life, just like she had been with so many others. When I told her, Lisa seemed happy for me at first. She gave me a hug, congratulated me, and we talked a bit about how I was feeling. I thought everything was fine, but soon after, I noticed a shift. Lisa started acting different. She wasn't as warm or excited around me, and I couldn't quite figure out why. I'd been so wrapped up in helping her with the wedding that I brushed off the change, chalking it up to stress. After all, planning a wedding can be overwhelming, right? I figured she was just feeling the pressure of everything coming together. But over the next few weeks, her behavior became harder to ignore. She began excluding me from conversations about the wedding, which was odd because as her maid of honor, I'd been involved in every step. Suddenly, I was the last to know about new plans or changes. She'd make plans with the rest of the bridal party, and I'd only hear about them afterward. On top of that, Lisa started making little comments that felt off. She'd say things like, "It must be hard to keep up with everything now that you're so busy," or, "I can't imagine dealing with wedding stuff while being distracted with other things." I'd smile and laugh it off, but it felt like she was implying I wasn't as committed as before, like my pregnancy somehow meant I couldn't handle being her maid of honor. I brushed it off as wedding stress again, telling myself she probably didn't mean it that way. The passive comments only got worse, though. Lisa even started hinting that the wedding day itself would be very visually coordinated, whatever that meant. She'd go on about how she had a certain vision for the day, which seemed to involve everyone in the wedding party looking a particular way. It made me feel a bit self-conscious, especially since I was starting to show. But I tried to ignore it, thinking she was just hyper-focused on details and that, as her friend, I could let it slide. In the back of my mind, I thought, maybe I'm overthinking it. I mean, she was my best friend, and I'd always supported her. I kept telling myself, it's her big day, and she's just stressed. I never thought it could be about something as simple as my appearance or the fact that I was pregnant. But the distance between us kept growing, and the more I brushed it off, the more uneasy I felt. Looking back, it feels strange how quickly things shifted right after sharing my pregnancy news. I never expected something so joyful for me would turn into something that would push her away. Still, at the time, I convinced myself that once the wedding was over, things would go back to normal between us. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of the real fallout. Then came the moment I'll never forget. The day Lisa dropped the bomb on me. She invited me over to her place, saying she wanted to talk about the wedding. I didn't think much of it at first. I figured we'd go over some last-minute details or discuss things she needed help with. But when I got there, I could immediately tell something was off. Her tone was weird, and she seemed almost nervous, which wasn't like her at all. She sat me down, and after a bit of small talk, she said, "Anna, I have to tell you something, and I hope you won't take it the wrong way." That's when I started to feel a knot form in my stomach. I had no idea what was coming, but I could tell it wasn't going to be good. Lisa looked me in the eye and told me that she had decided to replace me as her maid of honor. Just like that, I felt like I'd been slapped. I was completely stunned. It didn't make any sense. I'd put in so much time, energy, and money to make her wedding special, and now she was just kicking me out? I asked her why, trying to keep my voice steady, even though I felt like I might cry. That's when she told me her reason. She said, "I need my wedding to look a certain way, and with your pregnancy, you're getting too big." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She actually said that to my face, as if my growing belly was some kind of offense to her wedding. She went on to say that she had a very specific vision for the ceremony and the photos. She wanted everything to look aesthetic, and apparently I didn't fit into that look anymore. I was hurt beyond words. I felt betrayed, embarrassed, and angry all at once. I couldn't wrap my head around how my best friend could be so shallow and insensitive. I asked her if this was really about my pregnancy, if maybe she was worried about me not being able to keep up or something. I was still trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, even though what she'd said was already cruel. But she just shook her head and said, "No, it's not about that. It's not personal." Not personal? How could she say it wasn't personal? Here she was, basically telling me that my body didn't fit into her perfect wedding. How could that not be personal? I was just sitting there, numb, as she kept talking. She said she was going to ask one of her other friends to be the maid of honor instead. She added that it wasn't an easy decision for her, but she thought it was for the best. I honestly don't remember half of what she said after that, because my mind was racing. I couldn't believe my best friend, someone I'd been so close to for so many years, was treating me this way. All because I was pregnant and my body was changing. It was clear that in her mind, her vision for her wedding mattered more than our friendship or how much I'd already done for her. In that moment, I realized I wasn't just hurt, I was done. After that awful conversation with Lisa, I was left sitting in my car, completely heartbroken and honestly furious. I had put so much effort into her wedding, so much time, and let's not forget the thousands of dollars that I'd spent just to make her big day perfect. I felt used and tossed aside, all because I didn't fit her vision. It was clear that my friendship didn't mean as much to her as that picture-perfect wedding. As I sat there, I realized I couldn't bring myself to go to her wedding at all. Why would I want to show up, knowing I'd been excluded from the role I'd worked so hard for? I was supposed to be there by her side as her maid of honor, not just another guest in the background. The thought of standing there, watching her walk down the aisle, knowing how easily she dismissed me, no, I couldn't do it. I decided that if she didn't want me as part of her wedding party, then I wouldn't be part of the day at all. I wasn't going to attend. But then I thought about all the money I'd already spent on her wedding. I paid for the bridal shower, the decorations, the weekend bachelorette party, all expenses that added up to a big amount. And all of it was out of my own pocket because I thought that's what being a good maid of honor and friend was about. But if I wasn't even going to be her maid of honor anymore, I didn't see why I should be out of pocket for her wedding. I only spent that money because she'd asked me to take on that role. So, I decided to take action. I gathered up all the receipts from the expenses I'd paid for and went back to Lisa. I calmly told her that if I wasn't going to be in her wedding, I felt it was only fair that she or her fiancé reimburse me for everything I'd spent. I explained that all those costs were things I'd covered as her maid of honor. And if she no longer wanted me in that role, then the responsibility of those expenses should be hers. Well, you can probably guess how that went. Lisa did not take it well. She looked at me with pure disbelief, and her face went red with anger. She called me selfish, saying I was only thinking about myself and not considering the stress she was under with her wedding. She accused me of trying to ruin her big day just because I was upset. According to her, asking for the money back was tacky, and that all those expenses were simply my responsibility as her friend. I tried to explain that I was only asking because she had replaced me, and that I never would have spent that money if I'd known this would happen. But she didn't want to hear it. She kept saying that I was being dramatic, that I was making this all about me, and that I should have just let it go for the sake of our friendship. Hearing those words just confirmed everything for me. It showed me exactly where her priorities were and how little she valued our friendship. I left her place feeling even more hurt, but also strangely at peace with my decision not to attend. I wasn't going to let her take advantage of me any longer, and if she thought I was being selfish, so be it. After I confronted Lisa and asked for reimbursement, things quickly took a turn for the worse. It wasn't just her reaction that hurt. It was the onslaught of messages I started getting from her side. Her fiancé and even her family members started reaching out, bombarding me with calls and texts. At first, I thought they might try to understand where I was coming from, but no, they immediately went on the attack. They told me I was being petty, saying I was overreacting, and that it must be my pregnancy hormones making me act this way. I kept reading these messages in shock, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. These were people I'd known through Lisa for years, people who knew me and saw how much I'd done for her. Yet here they were, siding with her, not even willing to hear my side of the story. They made me feel like I was in the wrong for simply standing up for myself. It got to the point where I dreaded every notification on my phone, worried that it would be another hurtful message. And honestly, it wore me down. I felt heartbroken, not just by Lisa's actions, but by the betrayal from all these people who were so quick to turn against me. I kept replaying the events in my mind, questioning everything. Was I being too sensitive? Was asking for my money back really such a terrible thing? The constant backlash made me start to doubt myself. I wondered if maybe I was the one overreacting, like they were all saying. Maybe I should have just stepped aside quietly, kept my mouth shut, and swallowed the loss. But every time I thought about all the time, energy, and money I'd poured into Lisa's wedding, only to be pushed aside like I didn't matter, the hurt came rushing back. I was torn between standing up for myself and giving in just to make the tension go away. It felt like no matter what I did, I couldn't win. Here I was, pregnant, going through so many changes already, and now dealing with this on top of it. It felt like the betrayal cut deeper, because Lisa was supposed to be my best friend, someone I trusted with my whole heart. Through all of this, my husband has been my rock. After each hurtful message from Lisa's family and friends, he's there to remind me why I stood up for myself in the first place. He keeps saying I did the right thing, that I shouldn't feel guilty for asking for the money back. Every time I doubt myself, he reassures me, reminding me that it's not fair to be left out of pocket for a wedding I'm no longer a part of. He even tells me he's proud of me for finally standing up for myself and not letting Lisa take advantage of my kindness anymore. But even with his constant support, those doubts still creep in. The things Lisa and her family said keep running through my mind. Their words about me being petty or hormonal get tangled up with my own thoughts, making me question everything. Maybe I should have just let it go. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal out of this, like they're all saying. Part of me wonders if I'm actually causing more stress by refusing to quietly walk away. My husband keeps telling me to trust myself, but the weight of everyone else's criticism feels overwhelming. I know he's right. I know that if the roles were reversed, I'd never treat Lisa this way. But still, I keep going back and forth, questioning if I should have just accepted it and moved on. The betrayal from my best friend, the anger, and now the constant second-guessing have all started to blur together. It's hard to know if I'm really doing what's best or if I'm just making things harder on myself. In the end, I'm trying to stay strong, relying on my husband's support to get me through each day. But deep down, I can't shake the feeling of heartbreak and disappointment. This isn't how I imagined my friendship with Lisa would end, and it hurts more than I could have ever expected. This whole situation has me questioning so much about friendship, respect, and boundaries. Lisa was more than just a friend to me. She was family. We'd shared so many memories, supported each other through so much, and had countless laughs over the years. I never thought someone so close to me could turn around and treat me this way. All because I didn't fit her vision anymore. There's this deep pain that comes with realizing someone you trust can betray you in such a shallow way. It makes me wonder if our friendship ever meant as much to her as it did to me. Then there's the matter of boundaries and self-respect. Standing up for myself like this wasn't easy. Part of me wanted to avoid conflict, to just step aside and let it go. But at what point do you say enough is enough? I realized that, by staying quiet, I'd be telling Lisa that it was okay to treat me this way. That my feelings didn't matter. Asking for my money back wasn't about revenge, it was about fairness. I had invested my time, energy, and savings as her maid of honor, only to be cast aside when I didn't fit her perfect image. Taking a stand felt like the only way to protect my self-respect. But here's where I need your opinion. If you were in my shoes, would you have asked for the money back? Or would you have let it slide to avoid stirring up more drama? And what about the wedding? Would you still attend just to keep the peace, even after everything that happened? It's a tough choice, and I'd love to know what you would do. Share your thoughts, and let's talk about where we should draw the line when it comes to friendship and respect.